up, everybody? Sorry for the little showing of the face intro, whatever. Let's get to it. Let's go through my top NFL plays for this week. We are not doing kind of a super show this week. Jim may have alluded to that. Due to timing and schedules and everything else, it just didn't quite work out. But we wanted to make sure that we share kind of the same information coming from all three of us in just different contexts. So these will be a little bit shorter of pods and shows. Yeah, let's rock and roll. Before we do, please make sure you subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, drop us a comment if you hate our content or if you love it, and follow us on the X. I am there at the Notorious BJL. Let's do it. All right, starting at quarterbacks, I have interest in kind of going to go through my player pool here for everybody. I have a little bit of interest in Lamar Jackson up there at 7,700. In a way, I kind of like that this team is just getting decimated by injuries, not for the players, obviously, but from a fantasy context, it's making things a little bit easier and more clear. You've got Lamar Jackson up there at 7,700. He's obviously going to be using his legs in tight games or when there's opportunities to do so. He's got very clear targeting package options in terms of stacking. You talk about Zay Flowers quickly turning into one of his best receivers and most favorite targets. And you've got Mark Andrews. Rashad Bateman has not quite gotten back into the fold yet, but he is looming. I will say he's going to have some better games ahead. But you saw Odell Beckham is ruled out this week. So again, that leaves three very clear targets in the passing game. And with their running and their backfield all banged up, that really limits who is going to be getting the action there at the running back position. So I have some interest in Baltimore. Moving down to probably some more of my favorites, Justin Herbert at 7,500. How could you not like him in the situation? He showed last week he's still a very capable quarterback without Austin Eckler. I think 7,500 is a very reasonable price for him. You've obviously got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams as two very clear pass catching options. Both of them had really good weeks last week. You could go right back to them against a decimated and really bad Vikings secondary, to be honest. The Vikings have been blitzing at a wild rate this year in the NFL, but they're not getting home. So if you're going to blitz Justin Herbert, you better hope to get to him or he's going to torch you, which is what I think happens again on Sunday. So give me some Justin Herbert at 7,500. I also like Tua, 7K at home. How could you not? Obviously, Jalen Waddle having that Q tag is a little bit it's not great, but you still have Tua, a high mid-price, I would say, 7K versus Denver defense that doesn't really scare anybody anymore. Normally I worry about a Patrick Surtain tail and shadow in these games, but it doesn't really matter with Tyreek Hill, right? He can run by any cornerback in the league. Teams trying to shut him down. They can't do it. So, yes, I'll be going back to Tua at home at the quarterback stack or quarterback position and stack opportunities. So, moving down a little bit, I do like the other side. I think the Vikings game and Chargers game is probably the best game script, in my opinion. So 6,900 for Kirk Cousins is totally fine. Trevor Lawrence at 6,800. They've not quite looked right, but in my opinion, he still has obviously the sky is the limit for him, right? So in my opinion, I think this is my favorite game of the week in terms of being a little bit contrarian to the field. I'll talk about it why here in a second, but Trevor Lawrence is 6,800. I don't think you can go wrong there. Zay Jones has been ruled out for this week. So again, that it heightens the player pool, in my opinion, of where you're going to go and stack him. I really like, obviously, Calvin Ridley. I think you can look down to Christian Kirk becomes a phenomenal play in the mid-fives. And then Travis Etienne, and you got Evan Ingram. So this offense is still loaded. They're still good to go. The reason why I'm saying this is my favorite game of the week, though, is I'm going to be playing C.J. Stroud this week. I think C.J. Stroud has been freaking awesome to start so far in his rookie campaign. Definitely has had some mishaps and, obviously some plays that are regrettable, but who hasn't to start the NFL season so far? I like him. That price tag at 5,300 is insanely cheap. It allows you to get either a few of these big receivers or one of them into your lineup. It allows you to get Tony Pollard potentially into your lineup, Travis Kelce, you name it. His targets are very cheap as well. And Jacksonville's defense, where it's all right, I think they can be exposed for sure. So we've seen CJ Stroud throw over 35 times each game to start so far. in his career, and I don't see any reason why they're going to go away from that this week. So CJ Stroud, for me, one of my favorite plays on the slate. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. I also have some interest in Jared Goff at 6,500. I think he's in a pretty good spot here. The one challenge is Atlanta plays so freaking slow and just wants to run the ball in shortened games that the opportunities aren't going to be quite as prevalent as some of these other games that are maybe a little bit more fast-paced. But I like Detroit coming home or staying home after that blunder last week versus the Seahawks. I think they bounce back here this week. And I think Atlanta, the NFL is cyclical. I don't see the Falcons are going to go, 7-0 to start the year. Their fall is coming. I think it happens this week. And I think Detroit gets them in this one. So I like Jared Goff, 6,500. Without David Montgomery as well, my guesses are not going to lean quite as heavy on the run game. So those are the quarterbacks that I'm targeting this week. I'll probably have some smaller lineups and take some shots, as always, on guys like Patrick Mahomes. Let's see. Who else do I have in here to take some shots on? Mahomes. That might be it, to be honest. So that's the only other guy that I'm going to roll the dice on a little bit. Maybe some Justin Fields. We'll see how spicy things get. We'll see how much money I win in college football I'm willing to risk on Sunday. But I think that game has opportunity to score a lot of points as well, obviously. So moving on to running back, Tony Pollard up top at 8K has to be definitely considered as the top running back this week on the slate. The only concern is blowout potential with Arizona, and do they really need him for a full game slap? So I liked Pollard, though. He very easily could punch 2 touchdowns in, get 100 yards, and be out of this one very quickly in this game. We'll see. Bijan, 7,800. The dude's just freaking unbelievable. I said it last week on our pod. It's only a matter of time before his usage goes up. He's just too damn good. And I think we're seeing that very early into his career. I think 78K. His price is only going to go up. His usage is only going to go up, and he's only going to get better. So Bijan at 7,800 for me. Travis Etienne, I mentioned that Houston-Jacksonville game I liked a lot, 6,900. Aaron Jones, I have some interest in. He is the focal point of that offense when he's playing. Kenneth Walker, I'm going to keep playing him. Still way too cheap at 6,200. Raheem Mostert, way too cheap at 6K, especially if Jalen Waddle is out. I love that matchup right there. Brian Robinson at 5,800. Yeah, he's getting 18 to 20 carries a game, and this team wants to run the football. Hell yeah, I'll be playing some Brian Robinson, especially if those weather conditions are not perfect down in Washington this week. Joshua Kelly, I think he's the guy that a lot of people are going to be off of after last week. We told you we did not like that matchup versus the Titans. However, he gets a little bit easier of a matchup versus Minnesota this week. I like him quite a bit. Jerome Ford, everyone's going to flock to at 4,800. In my opinion, that's a bad play. I think Ford is very good, but I think the Titans front 7 and rushing defense is even better. So maybe I'll have a few shares in some of my very contrarian teams, but he's not going to be a core play for me this week. One guy I will be taking some shots on absolutely is Kendre Miller at 4,300. Was one of my favorite running backs in college last year. One of my favorite running backs in the draft. The Saints took him. It was only a matter of time. I said this in my running back show to kind of keep an eye on him. I have him all over the place in best ball, so I might be a little biased, but 4,300 is way too cheap for this kid. If he gets 12 to 15 touches, he could do some serious damage and pay off that 4,300. Is going to be the lead back there very quickly. So 4,300, I love that price for Kendre Miller. Going on to receivers, I don't need to talk about Jefferson and Tyreek. I think both of them are absolutely phenomenal. If I had to pick one, I'm probably leaning Jefferson this week, but hell, both can go for 40. St. Brown, I like him quite a bit. I mentioned Detroit bouncing back this week, 7,900. Keenan Allen, 7,600. CeeDee Lamb's got to be considered, even if they blow Arizona out. Similar to Pollard, he could do his damage in the first half from the 3 quarters and be done and still get you there. Calvin Ridley at 72, talked about the Jaguars. DK Metcalf at 69. I think he's just kind of unstoppable, and Carolina sucks. So I like that play a lot. Let's see. Michael Pittman, 6,200. If you're playing that Baltimore stack, he is a very easy and clean back. A lot of people are going to be on Gabe after last week. I don't know. I'll have some shots as always with him because he can make or help you take down a tournament. But I like quite a bit more is Amari Cooper at 5,700, right below him. One of my favorite plays on the slate this week is Amari Cooper for sure. No running game against Tennessee. They have a pass funnel defense. He should see massive target share this week. Jordan Addison at 54 and Zay Flowers at 54. Captain Kirk at 5,400. I have a lot of interest in with Zay Jones now out. Nico Collins at 5,300. This is an amazing range here from Kirk. Just absolutely, you can build this right there, still get a lot of value. Let's see, Guy Moore at 4,400. Some shots there. This is poor 4,400 until they raise. Keep producing scoring touchdowns this week. So yeah, KJ Osborne 4,000. If you get off of some of, if you want to get shares of the game, get off some chalk or off the expensive guys. Don't probably Osborne at all there. At 900, like a bit, but it sets this week. I think we old band connection. At 3,600 to keep final favorite. He got the so far. I think you can also look at Barrios at 600, especially only if they model misses the game. Quite a bit of the tight end, Kelsey at 200. Don't say a lot. You go down. I think Hawkinson plays 6K. Sam, if we're going into the is one of my favorite. Dalton at 37. Dalton King at 3,000. All those tight ends are going to be scattered amongst lineups and some of the plays. Moving to down 4,400 if you can. But it's going to be quite challenging as you've seen them past. At 3,600, I think they also will. I think and there's just some turnovers on New York. Mainly, I'm worried that 13-7 into the fourth. I think there's opportunities for interceptions off McCorkle and opportunities like that. It could be a rivalry game. Like that. And the Commanders at 4. They're a very good team. I know they're playing the Bills. Josh Allen, as we know, likes to turn the ball over here and there. I'll take some shots on the Commandos. No problem there. Yeah, that kind of does it for my player pool this week, everyone. Kind of rehashing a little bit my favorite stacks, not necessarily in any order, but Houston is one of my favorites. Houston-Jacksonville game. I like that Vikings-Chargers game quite a bit. If I'm going off kind of one-sided stacks, Miami, Baltimore, Detroit. I have a little interest in Seattle, have a little interest in the Chiefs. And then I'll be picking off shares at Dallas. So those are kind of my favorites going into the week here. I think if we're looking at it, my bold call of the week is I think, as I mentioned, one of these receivers, Zay Flowers, Captain Kirk, Nico Collins, or Jordan Addison and Amari Cooper. Those 5, one of those guys is going to go for 30-plus points. Absolutely book it. And my call of the week here is Kendre Miller goes over 100 yards and pops one in the end zone to be the ultimate value play of the day. That's what I got. Just under 15 minutes here. Nice and easy for everybody. If you're looking for more information, again, Jim and Joe will be sharing their favorite plays this week. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up as well. If you're still watching, please subscribe to the channel. It helps a ton. And good luck, everybody. Hopefully we win a ton of money.